our mics. Oh yeah. Oh, they are working right now. Yeah, they were just working. Yeah. Hello. Nice to have you here.
Welcome. Oh, now it's
Yeah,
working.
you can.
Now it's visible.
Now I can.
Yeah.
Now
There
I
was
can
the
hear
question: do you
myself.
see yourself? So now the question: do you hear yourself?
I can see
actually?
myself. I can hear myself. Yes.
Yeah. So Marta.
Always a good start.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we actually discussed with Łukasz that I said like that, but we actually discussed that I will lead the conversation, but as he's a very big enthusiast of the topic, also, you may expect some questions from him.
The
of
more,
course.
the merrier.
The more, the merrier. Yeah. So let's start with this. What I foreshadowed. So when we are talking about pop culture, we immediately think about social media. So is TikTok, first of all, a typical social medium? And second of all, is it a part of pop culture, in your view?
So I will say that we are definitely powered by the community that you can find on TikTok. I don't know if you are on TikTok, if you have TikTok. So
That's a
Łukasz is
question
an
to me.
enthusiast. I guess he does. We can talk later. But we are powered by the community, and it's a very diverse community, first of all. And then and sometimes we are described as the social media platform, but apart from a few features such as direct messaging, we are mainly content based because the other features are just quite limited. So we are first and foremost the entertainment platform. That's what I would say. And then if you think about our mission, which is to inspire creativity and bring joy, and then if you think about how we are bridging the culture, how we are bringing our users closer to experiences that they would not have a chance to experience otherwise. I must say I forgot the other part of your question, but I guess it was something to do with pop culture.
We'll get to that. Just
Okay,
continue,
so I'm
no worries.
thinking
Yeah.
that we have a very diverse community, we have a very engaged community, and we have people who use the platform to get into worlds that they would not discover otherwise. And I think this translates into the topic of today's conference here.
Yeah, absolutely. I just remember that a couple of days ago I saw this like short clip, I guess from TikTok. It must have been about a typical day of a Japanese businessman. From 7 a.m. or even 6 a.m. to the typical evening. I wouldn't see it anywhere else. I think if it wasn't for those apps and for those platforms, engaging platforms. And you already said that you are part of the entertainment. So actually, you answered the second question about the pop culture phenomenon.
Yes.
Because you use the words entertainment, you use the words creativity. So actually, I think that you already foreshadowed the next question I have actually about the people actually creating this phenomenon. So the TikTokers, the users, the creators of the content. So what is their role today in shaping views, in maybe uniting people together, showing different perspectives, different sides of the world? Do you think that they are truly an influence, the group of influencers, as we like to call them?
For sure, I completely agree with the fact that the impact on society of what happens on the platform goes beyond the platform itself. We can see that I don't know if you're familiar with our community, for example, Book Talk. We have a diverse community that talk about books, talk about literature, and that actually translates to more people reading books, being interested in buying them. So definitely we see that bridge, this transfer happening. And I'm thinking that we have the For You feed. Again, for those not familiar, I would just quickly say that this is the first feed that you see when you enter TikTok. And it is, of course, it's personalized content. So if you think about influencers, and if you think about the content that you will see, it will cater to your interests. So the more you use TikTok, the more you will just see that the feed that you see reflects your interests. And of course, you can refresh it. But in general, this is what you'll be able to see.
Personal preference algorithm, as we called it.
Yeah, but it's kind of different from the other apps, right? Because it's really from what you've told me when we spoke before. It's about creating this community of people who love the things that they see on the preference option, in contrast to other platforms that like to build the polarization. Because you're liking the stuff that are coming up, and sometimes you are reacting with a negative way to something that is also coming up.
This is something I heard from TikTok at a meeting in Warsaw like 2 years ago, was it? And it was really interesting because even though TikTok covers lots and lots of social issues, potentially polarizing issues, I would say it's very bold in its content. And I do confirm you can find a lot of things on TikTok that I wouldn't normally find elsewhere. That in itself makes it unique. So it's not easy, probably, when you touch on so many issues, to find out at the end of the day that the actual satisfaction and happiness of people using the platform is consistent.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, Łukasz didn't see my questions that I have prepared here, but this is a perfect intro to the next one, because I really want to ask you. So having those TikTokers, those influencers, the creators of the content, and taking into consideration what Łukasz said, what is like your responsibility? What do you try to do to actually have everything, let's say, maybe under control, or maybe not use that control word, but the responsible management of the content that is actually created? Maybe some policies, some compliance policies. I mean, your role speaks for itself, that this is something that you are trying to also take care of because of the mission and also the culture of TikTok that you described.
Yes. If I may, I will just, because I had a thought based on the comments that I have here, the notes that I have here, based on something that Łukasz said, is that I have a statistic here, is that 60% of TikTok users in Poland says the platform allows them to better understand what people do and how they live. So I think it's very important to share this statistic, because it also sheds the light on the topic itself. And when it comes to your question, sorry, I'm back here.
We are still the same topic, so that's okay.
In general, we aspire to reflect all the diverse communities we have on the platform and whatever makes the platform so special. And because of this, we are also bound by, and as well as our users, by the community guidelines, which just state how to keep our platform safe, and it actually reflects that our commitment to building a safe and inclusive platform. And it would be a separate, I think, conversation if I got into the details on keeping our community safe and the moderation. But what I can say is that we use a combination of technology and human moderation in order to ensure that it's as safe as possible.
Well, actually, it shows that the responsibility that the companies have, either if it's a tech company or a social entertainment platform or any other company that actually has this, the platform, this is the word, to be responsible about their risks and opportunities, about their effects on the community. So this is what basically ESG is about. So again, we don't have to use the acronyms for everything. We can just describe the idea behind some activities, and actually it seems very reasonable to be engaged in that part of business. Okay, Marta. So what is your take on that? All of that. So what's your the takeaway from today's conference, from this panel, from the conversation about pop culture and how do we view it? Your personal opinion, maybe, summarizing all of that.
The whole conference.
The whole conference. Were you following? No, the whole conference, but our conversation. Let's say, of course.
Yeah. Well, as I said, I don't know if you use the platform, but I do, obviously. And I'm just thinking that the topic of expressing ourselves, be it in the real world or on the platforms, and doing it in a manner where we are being respected and accepted, it's just a priority in today's, turbulent world. Let's say this is something that I feel very strongly about.
I think priority and also a privilege.
Yes.
Yeah, in some cases,
Definitely.
right? To be actually to be able to express yourself and see yourselves on screen. Either it's a big screen or a small screen on the mobile mobile app.
Yeah, we have currently 175 million users in Europe. So you can imagine that the community that I talk about, it's quite.
I can't imagine.
It's not
big.
exactly
To be honest.
small.
There's of course, a ton of languages and moderators that over 6,000 moderators that take care of us. But I'm thinking that this is very important for it. If the community is going bigger and we are really devoted to its diversity and inclusivity, sorry about that, then this is definitely a priority. What do you think, Łukasz? Because you look, you haven't said anything.
I was like turning to Łukasz.
I'm listening carefully. I enjoy listening now. It's been 2 days of hard work, so it's such a pleasure to be just sitting here listening to you talk. I do. I remember whenever people say to be perfectly honest with you, you would normally think they are dishonest on a general basis, but I set up my account on TikTok. The primary reason was not because I wanted immediately to have an account. I waited quite a while, and then I was invited to moderate a discussion at TikTok, for TikTok. So I thought, I can't do it without understanding what TikTok really is and how it works. So I set it up, started watching, consuming, and this is where I started. And one of the striking statistics I still remember from that meeting, one of the hashtags that related to what was happening socially, what was an important thing back then in Poland, reached 400 million views, and it was Poland specific. And that gave me an idea how huge this phenomenon of TikTok was. And after all, when you think about social media, I would share 2 things. When you live in Poland, it's like a double acceleration phenomenon. First of all, because for a long time, for far too long, we were on the wrong side of the Iron Curtain, historically and socially. So Poland has been catching up in a very broad sense. And when you add to it the fact that technology is making life so much faster, we have too much choice in so many aspects of it. And this leads you to a new kind of intelligence where you really need to be careful, smart, wise, how you consume the media, because technology is designed to be addictive. And if you just fall victim to it being addictive, then sooner or later you will end up in trouble. So I suppose that's the new kind of sensitivity that we need to talk about. The platforms are there. All of them have a huge potential in promoting authenticity, making people visible who would otherwise be completely unnoticeable with their authenticity. Like I gave the example of this iconic TED Talk with Sir Ken Robinson, the late Sir Ken Robinson, talking about why schools kill creativity. So in that sense, we are in a new era where I genuinely believe it takes a new kind of awareness, new kind of learning with so many stimuli all around you. You see, we all say it's a polarized world, entrenched. So many old stories re-emerge again, like history repeating in circles. So I suppose it really takes a special kind of careful and selective to defend yourself against these threats.
And to be honest, my reflection just right now is that we spoke about navigating the risks and the chances that actually we have right now in terms of building inclusive communities and promoting the idea of diversity and inclusion. And I think that this is a perfect summary what we should be aware of after the conference. And yes, there are a ton of creative people who are influencing the community, who are commenting or sharing or even creating the pop cultural elements on TikTok and on other platforms, that we should be aware of such a phenomenon. And I think that Marta perfectly summed up the whole idea behind the responsibility of the organization, but also the responsibility that we should be aware of about the community that is creating them. Marta, thank you very much. It was absolutely a pleasure.
Thank you.
To talk about such a different world of TikTok and a different world of this phenomenon. And right now we are moving to the last conversation, actually.
Exactly.
Okay, I have this privilege of actually saying that the last conversation. I know how you feel after all of those
and
conferences.
I will leave you after introducing our last two guests. It's been like 60 guests and 60 speakers, more or less, at this edition. We have the last two joining us for the remainder of the conversation. So I will leave you to enjoy each other's company while we prepare for the closing remarks, to which I will also invite you, Michał.
Thank you, Łukasz. Thank you, Marta.
Thank you.